Dr. Ndlozi's departure from the EFF is a political thriller, seasoned with suspense, betrayal, and a sprinkle of the classic South African political drama. Picture it, a man who once stood at the heart of the economic emancipation movement, now accused of moonlighting as a double agent, and apparently plotting some Machiavellian crossover to the MK party. The interviewer was direct, and he did not mince his words. He asked with a direct stern face, "Where have you been?" Let us hear from the horse's mouth.
Where have you been?
I've been around, and I've been in the country and at home.
I've been around at home. Ah, yes. The classic response when someone has been missing in action. Dr. Ndlozi, previously one of the loudest voices in the EFF, has suddenly gone into hibernation. No rallies, no fiery speeches, just radio silence. The interviewer, clearly baffled, is having none of it. Say, you don't just sit at home, you are a politician. And yet, here we are. After a bit of persuasion, Dr. Ndlozi opened up and says, "I was suspended, but not in the normal way." Let us listen to his unfiltered response.
Where have you been?
Well, I couldn't attend the conference of the EFF, the NPA, because over a dispute over my suspension. I was suspended about 6 weeks before the conference, and the suspension was unconventional in that it didn't rely on the code of conduct of the EFF summoned by its constitution. But largely the suspension rested on 2 counts.
Yeah.
On the one hand, the leadership said that it's in possession of an intelligence report in which they claim that I'm part of the infiltration strategy by the MKP. I'm working with the MKP. I'm planning to go to join them. I'm waiting for some opportune moment. The second one largely rested on the fact that I knew about the then Deputy President Floyd Shivambu's departure, and I didn't tell the leadership. Of course, I was told to stay at home, cease my participation in Parliament and the rest of the activities of the EFF.
Forget the rule book. Dr. Ndlozi's suspension was, in his words, unconventional. If the EFF constitution was a textbook, someone had just tossed it out of the window. Let us just swing it, his offense. Allegedly conspiring with the MK party and withholding information about Floyd Shivambu's political ghosting. But wait, he insists, it's all lies. Lies. Lies, I tell you, Dr. Ndlozi declared. To know more about this story, stay tuned. Welcome back to the Forward News channel. I'm your host, Boss Robert. For returning viewers and subscribers, thank you for your support. We really appreciate you. To those who have not yet subscribed to the channel, please show your brother some love by subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so that you don't miss any future videos and giveaways to come. Back to the story. Dr. Ndlozi goes on with this account about being accused of conspiring with the MK party to destroy the EFF. He explains that this is not a Tom and Jerry issue or a kindergarten story, but this is a serious accusation. Let us listen to his undiluted elaboration.
And so it was very important for me because they said that the investigation is still ongoing, and when the investigation is finished, I then would be given an opportunity to respond to these allegations. I think we can all agree these are dangerous and very serious allegations. At a later stage, the leadership argued that the report would only be ready after conference, and the matter has been referred to the leadership after the conference. It seemed fair for me to wait to clear my name in relation to these allegations so that I don't function with a cloud, a dark cloud on my head or a gun on my face. As I said, we can all agree these are very serious allegations that one had betrayed the revolution, had been disloyal, and that indeed you are a double agent of some sort. Of course, I can state categorically now that I never planned to join the MKP. I still don't. I never worked with anybody in the MKP in relation to some conspiracy about my departure. And I think that whatever information they say they have was based largely on lies. Secondly, I did know about the departure of Floyd Shivambu. He did come to tell me of his consideration, and indeed I did tell him that, look, you would have to take the leadership into confidence, and he did. The idea that I should have ran behind his back and informed other people or the leadership suggests that I'm an informant, a gossiper, or a wedge driver. I am none of those. It was Floyd's decision. He had to communicate it. It was not my decision. It was his. He had to communicate it, and he did.
Indeed, if you have ever been called a double agent, it's either a very bad day or a very good Netflix series in the making. Dr. Ndlozi is deeply offended that anyone could think he would suddenly defect like a football player, switching teams mid-season. His defense: I have never planned to join the MK party, I still don't. It's the political equivalent of I don't even know it. If you know, you know. But the question still lingers. Were the accusation of Dr. Ndlozi ever proven? I doubt that. Is he going to get justice? I doubt that. Was there a chance that he was going to get a fair hearing? Certainly not. I strongly believe it was a tactic to make him not participate in the EFF NPA Conference. Because if he did, it was almost a given that he was going to win a position in the top 6 and possibly become a challenger to the EFF presidency. The interviewer, curious to know more about this accusation, he asked, so what happened with the investigation? Turns out, no one really followed up. No emails, no calls, no WhatsApp text saying, hey, just checking in, are you still an agent of chaos? It is almost as if the whole thing was designed to sidelight him without any real evidence. Shocking, I know. For more context, let us listen to the following video and hear from Dr. Ndlozi himself.
Given that there hasn't been anything that has been forthcoming in terms of explaining that, so do you sometimes or perhaps feel you were sidelined? We remember, some of us in the media, hearing your name, that you could possibly be one of the top 6 officials. Do you perhaps think that was one way of sidelining you?
Well, it's neither here nor there. I think that, you see, it's now a matter of public record that our leadership has been engaged with President Zuma as well as the MKP for a very long time ago. My count is that over the last 3 to 4 years. It is that tactic of entanglement which, in my view, was responsible for the heavy losses, as it were, that we saw the EFF sustain in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng, being overtaken in Mpumalanga, as well as in the National Assembly. Tactics of entanglement. We had already been entangled by the leadership itself, and this entanglement, in my view, which I think it was a miscalculated tactic of entanglement, should be understood for what is responsible for what rocked us, in relation to the departure of the then Deputy President and ultimately Butali. But it's a matter of public record whether they tried to seek his endorsement, cooperation during the elections. You would recall the leadership had on many occasions said, we are one with the MKP and all of that. I think it's really that. I would hope that it had nothing to do with this or that position in the organization, but seemingly the distrust that was invited, in my view, by the departure of the Deputy President, which I think it shouldn't have, because if you accept that you had already entangled us with the MKP, such an occurrence shouldn't have to rock us in the way that it did.
And I hear you speak of a collective, the leadership, but of course the leadership is led by a person. I mean, the recent president who got re-elected is Julius Malema. So he was part of this leadership that you are speaking about, of entangling you with the MK.
Yes, he is part of the leadership collective. And I mean, Mzwai, these are political differences, which we must keep political.
Yeah.
I have rejected every invitation to make any of these matters personal. They are political. And political disagreements are part of the political evolution of any project. The revolution itself, specifically the revolution that finds its oppressive tentacles in imperialist global forces. So certainly the idea of extracting him as an individual doesn't assist. There was a collective project of entangling us tactically to firstly President Zuma and the MKP. And once you come to appreciate what that means, and there are so many historical examples to that effect, which could have assisted you that once you entangle us, you say we're one with the MKP, there are things that are no longer possible. You couldn't say that they are enemies. You couldn't say that Floyd Shivambu is an enemy or is betrayed us, because he did not cross the picket line. He didn't join Botha or de Klerk. It's like if somebody left the ANC and joined the PAC. You couldn't cultivate a politics of anonymity. These are the political differences that I think could have been constructively dealt with a full acknowledgement of the consequences of miscalculated tactics of entanglement. Yes. You would remember, for an example, 1991 conference of the ANC, Chris Hani is elected. Yes. He's participating in the leadership of the ANC as a NWC member, as a member of the National Executive Committee, and so on and so forth. 1992, he resigns all those positions to say that he wants to focus on the SACP. Members of the ANC, in particular National Executive Committee members, couldn't turn and say, Chris is selling out, because Chris did not cross the picket line. Chris is not working with the forces that are opposed to the strategic objectives, in that case, of the National Democratic Revolution. So it would be a pure miscalculation and a denial, as it were, to acknowledge the consequences of forming an entanglement with people, of forming an entanglement with a collective. And I think that, in a sense, that's why it has to be read as, an entire collective leadership, the decisions of that collective leadership, which entangled us in the way that it did. And that is the plateau in which those disagreements played out.
Dr. Ndlozi goes on to explain that he could not have been a double agent, as he was the one who strongly warned the leadership against entangling themselves with the former president Jacob Zuma, as he deemed it as a strategic miscarriage which led to the EFF electoral dip. It's like trying to be friends with everyone at a family reunion, only to realize you have accidentally sided with the uncle no one wants to talk to. The interview tried to invite Dr. Ndlozi to speak something bad about Julius Malema, or at least to get the view of his current relationship with Julius Malema. But Dr. Ndlozi carefully sidesteps the invitation to make this a personal beef. Instead, he insists this is about a collective leadership. Translation: I mad at Malema, but I won't say it outright. A very diplomatic shade-throwing technique. Let us listen to the following video clip for more context.
Okay. Because there was, just to conclude on this issue of you being charged. So, has anyone come to you? Because remember, you are the member of the EFF as we sit here. Well, unless there's something I don't know, but from my what I said to you, I heard from you is that you are the member of the EFF. Has anyone come to you, other than you going to them, to say, where's the conclusion and the finality on this matter?
I have made attempts And so, no, the answer is no. I've not gotten any advances that there is any progress in that regard. I don't think there will be because it's lies. It's lies. At least for me, the public is aware that consistently over the last 3 years, I was on the public record to have it. I mean, I'm fortunate in that sense that those particular disagreements in relation to the entanglement with the MKP, I was very vocal that it was not wise, I disagreed, but I had been dismissed as having not understood tactics. And to wake up in the morning after all of that and say that I'm the one that is a double agent, it is of biblical absurdity.
Mr. Malema, who used to be very close to you, even sometimes would speak publicly very glowingly of you, of your leadership qualities. So I know you are in the space of politics. Have you somehow reached out to him, you as a person, or has he reached out to you, perhaps to try and look into all these matters?
Look, the obvious answer is no. The suspension was put in a very formal way. And since that suspension, any other interaction that may have been there has mostly been me trying to, to reconstruct whatever that might have been. But as I said, these are political disagreements. They happen. And I have had to make peace with the fact that these political disagreements have occurred, and I've got to move on from them. There's been, of course, all types of attempts to make these matters cross that particular barrier line. All revolutions, as you know, stem from a place of love. Revolution is a high calling that comes from a place of love, and there is no cause in the world that requires more love than the cause of the liberation of black people. Because black people are people who are hated across the world and who are socialized to hate themselves. You couldn't engage in a politics of liberating them, which degenerates into forms of indignity, humiliation. And that's really all I have for my brothers and sisters in the EFF. Love.
The interviewer, having heard all the elaborations by Dr. Ndlozi, he spoke again on the lingering question and asked, have they at least called you back? Absolutely not. Dr. Ndlozi has made attempts to get some kind of response from his former comrades, but it seems he's left on the red. Imagine being ghosted by an entire political organization. It's brutal. After all this, Dr. Ndlozi insists his heart is full of love for his brothers and sisters in the EFF party, which is a very poetic way of saying, I'm disappointed, but I won't drag them too much because politics is a long game. Let us listen to him saying it in his own words.
Do you still remain the member of the EFF?
I have taken a decision to step away completely from party politics. I'm leaving party politics. I think I've made my contribution in that space. We don't live in a one-party state. We're not in the camps. We're not a band. Politics are a free activity in South Africa. And party politics are not the monopoly of making social contribution. I think after this episode, I've taken a decision to leave all of party politics and contribute in the first instance to the academy. In the second instance, I'm very, very passionate about the upliftment of levels of discourse in the country. But most importantly, I think the terrain of struggle that has been neglected over the years is the civil society space. That civil society space, I'm interested in it because it is where you are able to cultivate and agitate the notions of freedom, where liberation is about the people. Yeah. The people liberate themselves. And community development, research, advocacy. You know, it's time somebody did for the people of this country what AfriForum is doing for the Afrikaners.
Yeah.
I think that is the civil society space that one is having a conversation and thinking about. I'm saying that party politics don't monopolize the contribution to social change. And I have taken a decision to step out.
So, I just want to get you right. I don't want to second guess you. You're saying you're leaving party politics.
I'm leaving party politics.
And my question is very direct. Are you still a member of the EFF?
I have left the EFF. I have left party politics. EFF is a political party. I have handed over my resignation as a member, and it is because where I want to go and contribute, I can't hold a single party membership. But overall, I think that I've made my contribution, and I think that there are brilliant young men and women, old men and women as well, in the space that will continue in that category, as it were, of party politics. I think I'll contribute elsewhere in the remaining decades of my life.
The interviewer then went on to ask Dr. Ndlozi if he will still remain a member of the EFF, but he declared that I am leaving politics. Dr. Ndlozi announces that he is officially done with party politics. What a plot twist. He is off to pursue the academy, civil society and advocacy. But wait, did he just compliment AfriForum? That's like a plot twist where the main character suddenly befriends the villain from the prequel. He now wants to become an activist that promotes black empowerment, more like what AfriForum does for the Afrikaner community. What a shocker. In summary, Dr. Ndlozi's departure is a mixture of political heartbreak, unsolved mysteries, and historical lectures. Whether he was sidelined, betrayed, or just caught up in the leadership crisis, one thing is clear. This is the peak of South African politics, and we are all just watching the drama unfold. What are your thoughts on the mouth-watering revelations and bombshell assertion by Dr. Ndlozi? Did he get what he deserves? What are the implications of this revelation on the standing of EFF and its leadership? Or will it be business as usual? Is it the end of Dr. Ndlozi? I would like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you have enjoyed the video, consider liking it. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please show your brother some love by clicking the subscribe button now. Also remember to click the notification bell so that you won't miss any future videos and giveaways to come. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video. God bless you.